Hi. In this section of the video, I will share with you some project ideas for each unit for the middle school theater courses. So first, let's take a look at grade 6. So the unit titles are Unit 1, Ensemble Building, Unit 2, Theater History, Unit 3, Movement, Unit 4, Voice, Unit 5, Characterization, Unit 6, Script Writing, Unit 7, Technical Theater, and Unit 8, Production. You will see that the title for each of these units for the grade 7 and 8th grade course, it's pretty much the same. So let's look at some project ideas for your grade 6 class. So of course, in Unit 1, you start off with ensemble building, getting to know each other. So this is where you may have your students do a lot of theater ensemble building games and activities. You may introduce them to different theater vocabularies, so they'll explore the different jobs and roles in theater and the roles that are needed in putting on a production. For Unit 2 is your theater history unit, Unit 3, movement, Unit 4, voice, Unit 5, characterization, Unit 6, script writing. So for theater history, you may have them look at different time periods during theater history, starting with primitive theater through the Middle Ages. And you may have them work in small groups to research each of these time periods and present their research to the class. You may even select plays that you may have your students read. So after doing their research, they'll look more closely at the play and really examine the elements of theater during that time period that is present in the script that they just read. For Unit 3, I usually have my students explore pantomime and tableaus. And for Unit 4, readers theater, so I'll put them in small groups, assign them a script. They'll use class time to read through the script and rehearse and present the play to the class. For Unit 5, I have them work on monologues. So we look at what a monologue is, what's the difference between a monologue and a soliloquy, and I give them time to rehearse these again in class and they present them. For Unit 6, for our script writing unit, I have them then write original monologues. This oftentimes helps them to have a deeper understanding of the structure of a monologue and identifying the character's objective and the shifts in tactics and transitions in the monologue now that they have to write their own. So I usually find that they have a better understanding of that concept of scoring a monologue and really analyzing it once they have to write their own. Now, here are two projects that accompany the movement unit as well as our theater history and our tech theater unit. And I'll share those with you. For this project, the students are challenged to design sets or costumes for 3 scenes from a Greek play of your choice. They'll submit a final presentation of their costume design or their set design, and they have to include research as well as create a vision statement that addresses their designs. As far as their research, I may have them look up pictures online that they can use as inspiration for their design. I sometimes challenge the students to reimagine the setting of the play and reimagine the set design for the play. So they are allowed to change the time period. So since we've looked at Greek and the Middle Ages, they're able to reimagine that Greek play in a different time period, but it has to make sense. And they can use their mood boards as inspiration for their design, and they'll have to be able to justify it as well. So I'll have them either do set designs or costume designs, and sometimes both, depending on how much time we have to cover everything. This website is really great because it gives you a rubric that you may use. It gives you a rubric for the design presentations as well as the mood board, and it gives you a few sample of other students' work for both the scenic design and the costume design. as well. The next project that I use for my grade 6 students as well is this pantomime project. So I have the students work again in small groups, and they create and rehearse and then present a short pantomime in a form of a story that has a clear beginning, middle, and an end. So it must have a conflict that the characters encounter or deal with that has to be resolved at the end. And they're expressing the character's emotion using their facial expression, then their gestures and body language and movement. Oftentimes at the top of this lesson, I talk about tableaus and I have them explore tableaus. And we talk about movement through space. We talk about spatial relationship and how that can inform the audience on who the characters are in the story, how they relate to each other. And it even gives insight on the character's emotions and feelings and thoughts without words. And this can be done in small groups, depending on how well they work together and the results of these pantomime performances. I may challenge them to work individually. Here are some sample of student works on this website, and it also again provides the rubric that you may use to assess the students' performances. Now let's take a look at some of the project ideas for grade 7. And again, the title of the units are very similar. It's just the key concepts that you focus on for each unit are a little bit different. So for Unit 2 for theater history, I oftentimes focus on the other half of the timeline for theater history. So we may stop at the Middle Ages or stop at the Renaissance period. And then we move on from there onto modern theater. So same thing, they may read a play, selected plays that I have we read as a class. Then I may have them work in small groups to research each of those time periods and present that information to the class. For Unit 3, instead of doing readers theater, we do a radio drama project. So one or two things. I may have the students select radio drama scripts. So I provide them with a few of them and I put them in groups. They select the script that they'd like to use. They get a chance to rehearse these in small groups and then present them, record them and present them to the class. You know, they are able to find the sound effects using the BBC website, and they may record them during class time. Each group will have a different section of the room, working different spaces they record. I post these to Flipgrid and then we listen to them as a class. For Unit 4, they focus on Commedia dell'arte, and there's a project that I'll share with you later on. For Unit 5, we may do audition prep. So we look at monologues, we talk about high school programs that may have a magnet program that they may need to audition for, the requirements for those. We may even start to talk about the things that are needed for an audition, so working on creating a resume, discussing headshots, etc. For Unit 6, they do script writing, and I sometimes have them work on a 10-minute plays, depending on the skill set and the mastery of just writing scripts and writing for characters. I may have my students write short skits instead of writing 10-minute plays. So they may write a skit that has 3 scenes. The beginning scene gives them more exposition. The second scene explores a conflict. And then the final scene is resolution. So I'm going to share with you a really short sample of the radio drama project.
Hey, Samoa. What do you want? Where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. In a place that was once calming, where someone could clear their head of any stress or nuisances that could cause them trouble. But it's not like that anymore. What stopped it from being peaceful? You appeared. Anyway, what about you? Where have you been? I've been training nonstop for the Hunter exam. I didn't do too well last year, but I know I'm going to make it this time. Good luck. Why didn't you take it last year? I didn't care to take it last year. I'm taking it now because I'm bored. Are you ready for the exam? I was ready before they announced the dates. I can't wait to put my skills to the test. I can't wait to see those cowards tremble before me. The idea of being an official hunter fills me with ecstasy. The idea of having my opponents plead for their lives excites me. I want to hear the commentator announce me the winner. I want to hear the blood of my opponents splatter against my face. Huh? You know something that I've noticed about you, Stella? You're very delicate, very frail. What do you mean? You're weak. What do you mean weak? A single word could affect your whole being. You're like a leaf in autumn. Just a simple breeze could tear you to pieces. And what makes you think that you're Hercules? You're as weak as whatever is in that empty heart of yours. If the heart is empty, there should be nothing in it. Well, I thought you were smart, Stella. I'm smart enough to know not to let someone say that to me and let it go. So what will you do? After the exams, we'll fight. Anywhere and any kind. But it has to be right after the test. I could never turn down a challenge. Someone weak wouldn't be able to build up the courage to call for a battle. Tomoe, I thought we were friends. Rivals can never become friends. Since when were we rivals? Since you challenged me a minute ago. You know what I noticed, Tomoe? You say that word never pretty often. What should that mean? You're very negative. You've always had a more grim persona. Well, a positive persona doesn't get you very far. Look at yourself. You practiced just as much as you did last year, so what makes you think that you'll pass this year? Don't get your hopes up. There was a reason why I wished you good luck. See you tomorrow.
So that's a really short sample. So sometimes, again, I may have the students select radio drama scripts, and there are other times where I may challenge them to write their own scripts. And then I have them play all the characters in their script. They're only limited to 2 characters in their play. And I did this especially during the pandemic when we were remote and students weren't able to collaborate and work on those radio dramas in a group. So I had them work individually. So again, their scripts had 2 characters, no more than 2 characters. They played both. We talked about vocal qualities and what makes one person's voice very different. And they had to make very distinct choices about the characters in their script. And those choices reflected the character's personality. So you may have noticed from the video that I just shared, one character spoke with a higher inflection, a higher pitch voice. The other character a little bit lower and more breathy. One character spoke a little bit more faster, more high energy, and the other seemed a little bit more darker, spoke more slowly. And those were choices that the writer had to make in writing the script, as well as the actor had to make those choices as well in the recording of their radio drama. Here's a copy of the radio drama script template that I shared with the class, and they use it to form when they're formatting their script. As far as the Commedia dell'arte project, that goes with our movement unit for my grade 7 students. Again, they work in small groups of 3 to 5, depending on the class size. We talk about the history of Commedia dell'arte. We talk about the stock characters. Then they have to pick out at least 3 of the stock characters that they want to use for their story. And this is depending on the group size, because each actor has to play one of the characters. They'll write a scene, again, has to have a clear beginning, middle, and end. And once they're done with their script, they get my approval, and then they move on to rehearsing it. They focus on the physicality of each character. So they have to establish the character's status and age and relationship between them using movement. And the focus cannot be on the use of words. It has to be on the physicality. So thinking about how I can adjust my body, how I can use my facial expressions, and going back to that idea of spatial relationship and the use of space to establish the relationships between the characters and how they feel about each other. Now let's take a look at our grade 8 units. So Unit 1, getting to know each other. Unit 2, theater history. And this is where the project ideas shift a little bit. As far as theater history, for grade 8, I tend to focus on culture. So the students are looking at how theater was used in different cultures, the purpose of it, the elements of performances. and they research that information, they present it to the class. Sometimes I may have them find video clips of these performances that they'll share and discuss and use as examples. Or sometimes they may select a monologue or a scene from a play written by a playwright within this culture, and they present that performance to the class. For Unit 3 is a combination of the voice and movement unit. And we look at Laban technique. Unit 4 is characterization. And I mainly have my students do a lot of scene work. Unit 5, it's script writing. So for this unit, I may have the students write a one-act play. Or if they did the small skits in 7th grade, I may have them write a 10-minute play for Unit 5 in grade 8. For Unit 6 is our technical theater unit, and Unit 7 is our production unit. They oftentimes work on a class production for Unit 7. So here are just some examples of projects for my 8th grade students. So here is the costume design project. So students made costumes from recyclable materials. These costumes pictured are made from large trash bags and tablecloth. As you can see here, the student is wearing a cape, a jacket, and pants and a corset. And she made this from the tablecloth, red tablecloth, and tape and glue. And she used shoelaces for the strings for the corset. And again, the pants, it's the black garbage bags. Same here for the pants in this picture. And then she used tape to hold the pants together and also to create like a nice little design. We also create food props. So they use Play-Doh and foam to create these meals. So here we have a side of strawberries, a really, really small pizza, beans and fries. Then here we have the mashed potatoes, the carrots and the beans. And then this is a picture of our class production we did Insanity of Mary Gerard one year. I invited parents and faculty and friends to come and watch, as well as the students came and watched. I've also recorded these performances and shared them on our school website for our parents and other stakeholders to enjoy. So these are just a few project ideas for each unit. The lesson plans and the documents that accompany each of these project ideas, I will share them on the Godot community page under the video for your reference. Thank you for watching.